everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Today's guest is Nicola de Wever, founder of Après, an Australian brand redefining post-intimacy care with a simple but powerful solution. She's a mom of two, former police officer with 16 years of service and two-time professional bodybuilder. But our journey into women's health started with a personal challenge that many women face but rarely talk about. Nicola, welcome to Conversations with Sekani. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Sekani. It's really nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right. I'm actually so excited, to be talking about this. All right. So yeah,
I'm so glad.
okay. So I want us to start from the beginning, right? You went from personal struggles to innovation. So your journey started with your own experience. So what were you going through that pushed you to create Apres or Apres? Say it correct.
It's Après.
Pray. Oh, okay.
Thank you. No, I actually my journey started when I had my children. So I was living in central Queensland as part of my career in policing, and I have two children now. But when I was pregnant with my first child, I actually suffered from something called Strep B. Now, Strep is something that affects one in three women as well, and it's part of that flora pH. It's a bacterial overgrowth in our vaginal canals, and it presents itself as strep. So it's a condition where, excuse me, we actually have to have antibiotics in labor if you are diagnosed with strep in pregnancy. So that means that when you are in labor with your child, you are given a high dose antibiotic, usually IV, and that travels obviously through yourself and into the unborn child. So, what that does is it prevents the child from breathing in any of the mucus that has that high bacteria, which then prevents meningitis. So, if the baby, while you're in labor giving birth, does inhale any of that mucous membrane, it can affect the baby and give the child meningitis, which it can be lethal in some instances. So my journey actually started before I knew about it because didn't know that there was a correlation between strep and bacterial vaginosis. But since I've done a lot of research, there has actually been studies that have shown a correlation between strep and bacterial vaginosis. Now, bacterial vaginosis is another bacterial overgrowth within the vaginal canal. So it's caused by a few different things. So it can be an imbalance in pH caused by different things. So whether that's liquids that enter the vaginal canal that throw off the pH, the natural pH, that could be seminal fluid, spit, lubricants, water, or just a general imbalance, even caused by our own menstrual cycle. So I was suffering with bacterial vaginosis every month. So I was going back to the doctor. The doctor would give me antibiotics. Those antibiotics would then cause thrush. So every month I had a week of antibiotics, which led to a week of uncomfortable thrush. I then had a week where I felt kind of good, and then I had my period, which would then potentially cause bacterial vaginosis again because my own menstrual cycle would give me BV because the menstrual blood would also throw off my pH balance internally. So my own cycle was giving me BV, which was really disappointing. So I found that it was just a constant cycle with going back to the doctor, antibiotics. The antibiotics caused thrush, and there was no solution. So the doctor said to me, either you can abstain from sex, get a new partner, use a physical barrier as part of your intimacy routine, or the pull out method. So the idea was to not have seminal fluid entering the vaginal canal, which would throw off the pH. So those were the solutions that the doctor provided, as well as giving me a script for antibiotics. So none of those solutions at the time worked for me. So I continued on my journey, and every month I would go back to the doctor and get the antibiotics. And I actually became quite depressed because this journey went on for about 2 years where
Hmm.
I had no solution. It was just a recurring battle.
Wow. Hmm. Okay, that must have been a lot actually. And these things are not often spoken about, right? I feel like, and most times when it comes to, bacterial vaginosis, right?
Yeah.
Okay, when it comes to things like that, people always think it's as a result of sex. We don't know that even your own menstrual flow could throw off your pH balance, right? Sometimes even like you said, water could do that, or even fluid, or let's say soap for bathing, but we are not aware of
Exactly.
that. They only think it's just sex that could cause it. And I think there should be more awareness on things like this actually. So thank you for, creating this awareness, and also for creating, should I say, Après? I've forgotten how to pronounce it again. Après.
Après.
So let's talk about, breaking the silence, right? Topics like vaginal health and post-intimacy care are not openly discussed. That's why I appreciate the fact that we are discussing these things. So why do you think people don't often discuss topics like this?
I think often it's to do with the symptoms. I think women suffer with the symptoms, and because the symptoms can be seen to be quite uncomfortable and very unpleasant, it's not something that we often openly speak about because often bacterial vaginosis comes with a really unpleasant odor and a feeling that's just really uncomfortable, a discharge that is grey, watery, and just not very pleasant to have to deal with. So I think we don't speak about it because it can be quite embarrassing for us. And I think it needs to change because women need to be able to talk openly about problems that affect themselves. So it's often caused, like I said, by the imbalance in pH. So it's not something that women need to think about as something that's dirty or unhygienic um, or disgusting, which is often what a lot of my clients say. They say they feel disgusting, they feel awful, they feel unwell, they feel just like they're not themselves. And it's really hard to assist women to speak more openly about these problems because we've always been told to, I guess, not talk about things that are uncomfortable and awkward and that the symptoms, like I say, they can be quite embarrassing. So it's a rather embarrassing topic for some women as well because there's an often uncomfortable, embarrassing odor that comes along with bacterial vaginosis that we try to, I guess, avoid at all costs, but also it's something that is really embarrassing. So it's not often spoke about unless it's kind of, I say to some of my customers, it's in the girls chat. Just drop it in the girls chat because often we have these girls chats in our lives and this is where it kind of comes out and it's not really spoken about openly. But once we know that 1 in 3 women do suffer from bacterial vaginosis, we know that if it's not myself and if it's not you, then there's someone else that we know that's suffering. So it's often in these group chats where we do feel more open and more comfortable being able to talk about these things. But it also needs to be noted that bacterial vaginosis can come quite unexpectedly. And now that medical practitioners are telling women that it is now also classified as a sexually transmitted infection, it's kind of giving the wrong impression to women in that they are believing that potentially it's because of their partners and infidelity and their partners sleeping with someone else and then bringing the BV into the relationship where the reason it is considered an STI is generally because it is brought on through intimacy. So it's a problem where women have intimate moments with their partners, which throws off their pH. So, yes, it's due to the fact that it's of a sexual nature that BV is classified as a sexually transmitted infection. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's infidelity or multiple sexual partners. It can come from having multiple sexual partners, but you can also have a partner that you've had long term and that partner simply changes their diet and you've been with that partner for, let's say, for example, 10 years and you've never had a problem. But let's say your partner's given a medication by the doctor, or your partner eats something different or drinks something different. And not only do we need to remember that men consume things and they will be excreted by way of sweat, feces, urine, it's also excreted in their seminal fluid. So we need to remember that any change in our partner's diet can also affect us and our pH. So a lot of, and where my bodybuilding background came from, a lot of women who are in that bodybuilding scene and do have intimacy with other bodybuilders, they will realize that the substances that the male counterparts actually consume, whether it's injected or taken orally, can also throw off the male partner's pH, which then affects us in turn. So it's actually by no fault of our own, but it's due to the fact that potentially there's a change in our partner's pH as well that then ultimately affects us.
Right. Wow. Okay. It's amazing, right? That people, especially women, are getting to know these things, honestly, because
Exactly.
yeah, I feel like the wrong narrative has been pushed for so long, and now we can see that oftentimes these things is not even as a result of us. It might even be from the partner, like you said, their diet or a new medication. And yes, now we are seeing that different things can cause, a throw off of one's pH, which is interesting actually. So, I want us to talk about like the problem you're solving, right? So, what is the real issue many women face after intimacy that people don't talk about enough?
I think there's so many. So I think part of it is going to be that pH imbalance that can often cause, if it doesn't cause bacterial vaginosis, it can so simply just cause an unpleasant odor after intimacy. So there's not only that, it's also the bed sheets, the washing of bed sheets, it's that awkward leak afterwards. So part of my journey as a bodybuilder is that I would have an intimate time with my partner, and then the next morning I would go to the gym and I would be doing something that's strenuous,
Mm,
or I would even just be talking to a friend and laughing, and you can't control when the liquids can repeat on us. So it's often handy to use Après after intimacy just to prevent those unexpected leaks. So not only for the fact that we have bacterial vaginosis, also just for those uncomfortable moments where usually I had a chat to a few women a few weeks ago and we were discussing that our partner will often just kind of throw us a towel or something to clean up, and it's often seen as the men trying to assist us because they are aware that we have a problem then that they've then left us with, but they don't know the solution. So they do their best by providing us with, say, a towel or something so we can walk to the bathroom, and then we are kind of left to sit on the toilet for goodness knows how long, waiting for those liquids to come out of us. And oftentimes they don't. And then the next day, you'll be laughing with your girlfriends or doing something like going to the gym, being a bodybuilder and doing something strenuous, using those muscles contracting will then force the liquid to come out. And
mm.
it's often at the most uncomfortable times. So I would find myself rushing to the bathroom and having to clean out my underwear because you can't predict these things and it just sort of happens when it happens.
All right. Wow. Okay. Yeah, okay. I just want to thank you, first of all. Thank you so much. I feel like, I've learned a lot, right? Even just this short period of time, I've learned a lot. And I want us to talk about, your product, right? Can you explain how it works and, what is and why it's different from, the traditional solution?
Yeah, so there actually hasn't been any solution to this point. So I actually produced this product for that solution. So it's designed as a sponge, a hypoallergenic surgical grade sponge, not dissimilar to the picture here. And it's designed to quickly absorb the liquids after intimacy. So the sponge itself is attached to this long handle. So what it is inside this pack, there's 10 individually wrapped Après, and you will simply remove one from the packaging, remove it, insert into the vaginal canal, rotate and remove. So it's a single-use disposable product that is designed to be inserted, rotated, and removed within a matter of seconds, and it will quickly absorb those liquids. So when I went through the process of finding the correct sponge, I found a medical grade sponge that is sterile and hypoallergenic. So it's not introducing um, any more, I guess, products to the female body that will cause any further pH imbalance. It's simply a product designed to remove. So some women used to use things like a tampon for that same purpose because there was nothing else like it on the market. But a tampon is very different in that it's a tightly packed cotton substance that's inserted and designed to be left for a period of anywhere from 4 to 6 hours and then removed. So it's designed to absorb over a long period of time, whereas this product that I've designed is actually used very quickly and discreetly. So it's not something that you have to be concerned about leaving behind. You simply insert, rotate, and remove and place it in the bin, and it removes the liquids really quickly because it is designed with us in mind, being a surgical grade sponge that absorbs that similar viscosity quite quickly. So it's designed by, um, I had it produced in the same manufacturers that manufactures surgical grade sponges designed to absorb liquids like blood. So a similar viscosity to seminal fluid. And it absorbs quite quickly. So it's designed for that purpose to be used in a discreet fashion.
Right, all right, wow. So I believe this product, brings, confidence and comfort of some sort, right? So like how much does something like this impact a woman's confidence and, day-to-day comfort or activity?
I think it's to do with that unexpected discomfort that we can suffer from after moments of intimacy. But also, actually, interestingly enough, you bring this up because I was recently at an exhibition and I had a customer approach me who has actually used my product for quite some time. And I believe that she was merely using the product for its intended purpose, for the fact that she was having intimacy and required the solution to remove the liquids, which can repeat on us at a later stage. But she actually informed me that she suffers from endometriosis. And as part of her treatment for endometriosis, she actually uses a medical pessary for her pain relief. So she said until she found my product, she would insert the medical pessary of an evening to manage the pain associated with her endometriosis. And then by the morning, the active ingredients had had time to process. She then obviously didn't feel any pain, but she was left with a uncomfortable, sticky residue that was left behind by the medication that she had inserted the night before. And she said that previously she would have to have a shower and jump in the shower and actually, uncomfortably enough, insert her own fingers to remove the residue, to remove the capsule that's left behind oftentimes when you are inserting a medical pessary. And she said to me that she has now had her comfort, confidence, and her dignity restored by using my product because she has now been able to comfortably use her medical grade pessaries. And then the next morning, she's found the solution to remove the after product of that medical pessary. So she's been able to remove the residue that's left behind and then go about her day feeling more confident, knowing that she doesn't have to worry about a recurrence of excess discharge or any leaking after the fact, and also ruining her underwear. She said that she wears quite nice lingerie and it could be stained by the residue that's left behind. So now she can comfortably remove that and confidently go about her day knowing that she's removed that residue.
Wow. I'm going to clap, right? I'm gonna clap. Okay, so wow. I'm so happy, right, concerning this product. And how do we get one of these products? Like how can we get them?
Well, they're available online. So I have the product itself is available by scanning a QR code or by jumping online, and the website is justbtwnus.com.au. So it's based around the words just between us. So JUST and then between btwnus.com.au. So I use the website based on the fact that often it's a taboo topic, so we don't often speak about it. So it's just between us. So the website is based around that word. So
Mhm.
available online, also available through Amazon Australia, Amazon USA, and Amazon UK.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you for that one. And yes, to my listeners, if any of you need those products, you know where to go to. And yes, I want us to talk about, I believe you have a message to women, right? So what would you say to women who feel probably uncomfortable or ashamed talking about their bodies and health?
I think it's really important to introduce a more open forum for women to be able to speak more openly. So I think anything that we suffer from, and this is where my idea with my product came from, was the fact that I was so passionate about the fact that I was suffering so terribly. I knew that I wasn't going to be the only one. So never feel alone in that when you are suffering, there is always going to be someone else out there who is going through the same things you're going through. So, on my socials, the socials is Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. It's at après.official.page. I really encourage women to jump on there and send me a message and let me know that they're going through similar things to what I was going through. I now actually haven't suffered from bacterial vaginosis now for 2 years. So my message is to really not give up and talk about the problems that we're suffering with, because I think that it's really important for us to have this open dialogue where we feel comfortable discussing things that can sometimes be seen as really uncomfortable and really embarrassing. But it's really important that we create an awareness for other women so that we don't feel so alone.
Okay, all right. So thank you, Nicola. This was like such a honest and empowering conversation, especially around, topics that deserve more openness and understanding. So yeah, it brings me to the final segment of my podcast. It's called the rapid fire segment. Okay, so are you ready?
I think so. I hope so.
All right. So okay, starting now. Confidence is.
Being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it.
All right. Okay. Strength looks like.
Oh, sorry, go again.
Strength looks like.
Trend, was it?
Yes, strength. What does it look?
Strength looks like the ability to achieve something that you've worked really hard towards, whether it's a physical strength or a mental strength.
All right. Wow. Okay. Self-care is.
Self-care is being able to take time for yourself and discover what you love most about what your journey is. So being able to take care of yourself in your own way.
All right. And shame disappears when.
You're able to speak more freely and realize that you're not alone, and what you're going through is not individual to one person, but many people often go through what you're going through.
All right. Okay. Balance is.
Being able to show yourself that you can achieve multiple things whilst also looking after your mental and physical health.
All right. Being a woman means.
Power,
Wow. Power. Okay. And finally, you deserve.
happiness.
Wow. You deserve happiness. You did amazing.
Thank you.
You did amazing. Thank you, Nicola. I know you've said it already, but where can listeners get to know more about you and what you do?
Thank you. The website is www.justbetweenus, but removing the e's from between. So justbtwenus.com.au or on our socials, après.official.page.
Okay, so thank you so much, Nicholas. And to my audience, thanks for tuning into Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, make sure to share to someone you think might need this and also subscribe so you don't miss out on your episode. Thank you, Nicola. This was amazing. And I'm going to
Thank you, Sekani. I appreciate your time.
yeah, I'll reach out to you on Instagram after this actually. So thank you.
Thank
Do
you.
have
I appreciate it.
things.
Thanks,
All
Sekani.
right. Bye.